ProVision Mentorship is one of several strategic focuses of ProVision Solutions, Inc. I'm Jim Ewing, and mentorship can make a difference. This is one of several interviews with those who've experienced mentorship. Learn from their experiences. Then take a moment and share your experiences on our blog, ProVision Mentorship.
My name is Bill Gray, and I've been involved in developing formalized mentoring programs since 1978. And what I'd like to do today is just share some of the major insights that I've discovered over 30-some years. The contribution that I made that I think has been my most significant is identifying 4 mentoring styles. And I have them on a little pocket card. It goes right in your pocket. And 2 of the styles equip the protege with what the mentor knows. And this is the classic concept of mentoring. Providing wise counsel, suggestions, advice, doing some coaching. That's the classic concept of mentoring. And there's nothing wrong with it. It is still needed today. The problem with it, though, is that that concept started when there was no education. There was no formal schooling. There were no books. There was no TV. And so in essence, the mentor was working with a blank slate as a protege or an empty vessel. Well, that's not true today. Every protege, no matter what their age, enters every mentoring relationship knowing something already. And so the mentors have to acknowledge that by empowering what the protege wants to do and learn and become. And so 2 of the mentoring styles I identified empower the protege, and 2 equip the protege. What they all have in common is they need to be equipped and empowered in the right proportions. And that's what the mentoring style indicator helps mentors do with the proteges.
Have you got some tips for both the protege and the mentor?
Got just a few quick points. One is to use all 4 mentoring styles in a flexible manner so you don't get stuck. That's just fundamental. Another thing is to maintain confidentiality. One of the first ways to undermine a relationship of any kind, and especially a mentoring relationship, is to divulge something that's meant to be held in confidence. And so it's important that each person say, I want you to keep this in confidence, and the other person then do that. Another thing is commitment. All of the literature on informal mentoring says it's the special chemistry between the partners that makes it click and makes it work. I've never found that to be true in over 30 years, training over 40,000 mentors and proteges. What I've found to be important is commitment to your partner. Now let me just give you an example. Again, one of our clients was CSX Transportation. They were a client for about 12, 15 years. At about the 8-year point, Doug Klippel, one of their coordinators, and I were asked to present at a conference. And Doug said what he wanted to do was to roll up all of the evaluations they had done for maybe 20 different groups that had gone through. Roll up all those evaluations and then present the benefits that the proteges got from a formalized mentoring program and the mentors got from a formalized mentoring program over long periods of time. And Doug has a PhD in statistics, so he knows what he's doing. And he phoned me up and he said, Bill, I've run the data over and over and over again, and I don't understand the results. And I said, well, Doug, what did you get? And he said, well, the proteges in any year and aggregate, and the mentors in any year and aggregate have the same results. I said, well, what are they? And he said, well, the ones who report the most benefits are in long-distance relationships. They don't even live in the same state. The partners are in different states. How is that possible? You think if they were together in close proximity, they would produce better outcomes. But my data isn't lying here. Do you have any suggestions? And I said, Doug, I don't have a clue. Why don't you phone a few of them up and ask them? And he did, and he got back to me, and he said, I've got the answer. The answer is they made a commitment to be prepared. Now, I had trained them to develop a mentoring action plan. so that they had a schedule of activities they were going to do over time. Well, when you saw someone all the time, you sometimes didn't stick to the plan. Let's do lunch. Let's talk. So you weren't always doing the activities on the plan. And sometimes you'd miss a date on the plan. Well, the partners in long-distance relationships knew it was going to be difficult to get together, so they used the plan to make sure they were prepared for a telephone call, or if they physically were in the same place. And when they were there, they were on track, literally on track. And they were committed to this, and that's why it worked for them.
Is it possible for a mentorship relationship to be mutually beneficial?
I found that when mentoring is working, mentors provide many different kinds of assistance, and proteges are receptive to these different kinds of assistance and will utilize them. They don't reject them. Both partners must benefit. If mentors aren't benefiting, you'll eventually find they'll stop volunteering. And the organization has to benefit, or they won't sponsor these programs. So when we plan a program, we start with what are the benefits everybody needs to get, i.e. what are the outcomes? And backing up, how do we make sure that happens?
What final thoughts would you share with those considering entering into a mentorship relationship?
The thing that's different again about a formalized mentoring relationship is that when you get into it at the front end, you know how long it's going to be, because these programs are started to stop. And so, for example, a mentoring program to orient new hires might typically last 6 months. At the other extreme, if you're trying to develop future leaders, that could go on 18 months to 36 months, depending on what you want the mentors and proteges to do over time. But formalized mentoring programs are started to stop by a certain date.
Now it's your turn to share your experience with mentorship. Visit our blog, Provision Mentorship. Make the investment in mentorship today for your success tomorrow.